It's us.
Anyways, y'all boys, yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy. I so glad to bring y'all boys back with another banger video. So right now, you know what I'm saying? Me and my boy Q, you know what I'm saying? The back, my boy Q, you know what I'm saying? We on this ghost tour right now. Hey, before the do, hey, take your time out of the day. Make sure you drop a like, hit that sub button so you can join the TVG gang. My boy, trust me, I wouldn't risk it. 1.5K is on the way, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, because it's that magnitude, but without further ado, we gonna get right back to y'all when we show y'all the rest of the ghost tour. Gang.
Philadelphia Alley. Now, Philadelphia Alley is named Philadelphia Alley primarily because of a fire that hit the city of Charleston in the 1830s, caused about 10,000 different buildings to burn here in this city, including this little area that we're in right now. During this time, as the city was trying to rebuild itself, Philadelphia at the time was known as the City of Friendship. And they actually sent various people as well as supplies to help us rebuild our city. And so to kind of give them a gratitude, we named a little section of the city after Philadelphia, which is now, as we are here, called Philadelphia Alley. That's not why I brought you here, my friends. Would you have ever believed me if I told you that we're standing in one of the most haunted locations in the city right now? The reason for that has a lot to do with what happened during the 1680s and the 1700s here in Charleston. Because during this time period, as the city is building itself up, where we're standing at the time in this little section of time, where as we look back, where we're at has a lot of little taverns, little bars over here. At the time in the city, this was not a location that you wanted to find yourself in. And the reason for that has everything to do with the types of bars that are here. This little area over here was known as the slum area at the time here in the city of Charleston. But it was also where a lot of duels occurred, which is also why this alley would get the very nickname of Duelers Alley, also known to locals as Bloody Alley. Now, if anyone knows what a duel is, you typically, you have to challenge somebody for a duel, mostly because you have honor to think about. Your honor at this time period, y'all, is everything to you, because there's no really getting canceled, there's no social media. The biggest thing here is that if somebody slays your name through the mud and drags you through it in the paper or in the public square, that's it for you and your entire career. Which is why a lot of duels were had and to be made here. It's believed that over 200 duels occurred here. Now with that said, we always think about the famous duels, right? Like the one between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Well, tonight I want to tell you about a different duel that happens here. And it has everything to do with a gentleman that we call Dr. Joseph Ladd. And Dr. Joseph Ladd, not a native Charlestonian. In the 1700s, he's born actually over in Rhode Island to a small farm family. It's one of the oldest churches here in Charleston. It dates back to 1681. And the church itself is one of the oldest by congregation. It dates back 12 generations. This area used to be all one. And there was an issue that they have with the city of Charleston. If you remember that wonderful market that we walked over by, when the city opened up in 1807, they had an issue in that they didn't realize that they didn't have a street. Well, y'all, most of the city of Charleston is made up of two things: landfill or mass graves. And most of the time when you're walking through the city, you're walking on one of those. Especially when you're around this area in the historic district. Now, why I brought you guys to St. Philip's was another reason as well. Gather in a little bit closer so y'all can hear. We can have a nice intimate fireside chat. All right. Now, I brought y'all here to actually specifically talk about St. Philip's graveyard here. Right over here is what I'm talking about. And we're going to go all the way back to 1987. Doesn't seem like too long ago, But when somebody tells me that they think of 30 years ago, they're not talking about the 1970s, they're talking about the 1990s, and I've never felt older. However, we're going to go back to June 10th of 1987, and we're talking about a gentleman named Harry Reynolds. And Harry Reynolds, y'all, he had just gotten the most wonderful new camera. It's this wonderful Kodak camera where he could take some photos and he could create memories to last a lifetime almost in an instant. Because it can this film, he could take it to the local CVS, and in 1 hour he would have these awesome photos that he could cherish for the rest of his life. I don't know how many of y'all remember those. This fence that you see on the other side over here, at the time in 1987 it was not there. It was later added, and we'll talk about why that is in just a minute. However, this area was here, and he decided that he wanted to get St. Philip's in all angles. So he takes some out front, he takes it to the side, and then he decides to sneak all the way in the back over here, where he decides to use up the rest of his film. Well, later on, as he gets going the next few days, he gets that film developed, and he sits at home at his dining room table, and he's going through all these precious memories of his date night with his wife. And as he's looking through these different photos, one particular photo that he sees sends a chill down his spine. Designed because the church in itself historically has always been very welcoming to everybody, regardless of class and regardless of race and gender. So they've historically been that way since its founding in 1682. However, I want to talk to y'all about where we're at. Now you see, as we were going to explore this part of the graveyard in just a little bit, but you know, there's over 800 known graves here in this actual graveyard. And we have this beautiful big open spot. Well, what do you think this open spot of greenery is for? New Constitution. That's one way to put it. Actually, it's not. Where we're standing is actually on the top of a mass grave with about 75 or so bodies beneath our feet here. And I want to talk to you all a little bit about something that happens in the 1830s in the city that affected a couple thousand people here in the city of Charleston. And that is a disease known as the Black Death disease, or the Black Vomit disease. This was a disease that they believe you could contract as easily as you now can contract COVID. That is what they believe, the contractional rate. However, the death was 60%. It was rare that you found that a person that would live from this horrible disease. However, it hit Charleston really hard. And later on, we find out the reason is that it wasn't passed by human contact at all. It was passed by mosquitoes. And that mosquitoes would go around and bite people, and they would infect everybody that they came into contact with. Which is why it affects Charleston so bad, because we have a very large mosquito population here. Isn't that wonderful for y'all? Welcome to Charleston. You never know what's going to happen to you. However, the Black Vomit disease really did affect a lot of people, causing about, we believe, upwards to 5,000 deaths in just 1 year. It was really it got akin to what a camera was. Some people decided that it wasn't good enough to have their faces on the gravesite, that they would take post-mortem pictures with their deceased relatives. And they would prop up their dead relatives and take a portrait and hold their eyes open. And they would be called death portraits, and they would hang their death portraits inside their living room as a way to memorialize the dead. Now, there's a couple of things I want to show you guys here, because it's pictures of things that people have seen while on tour with me here, especially in this area, which is why I always encourage people to take pictures. So, one of the things I want to show you is this spiritual orb that looks as if a hand is coming out of the ground. looks like we're gonna get a nice little time in here with nobody in here. I love it.
Can I take a photo, Mom?
Yeah, go take a picture. Children play using the graveyard as their eternal playground, as a way for them to make up for the child.
Anyways, man, that's all, folks, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this banger video, man. But hey, it's your boy, Axel Valley. Stay smooth. We love y'all, boys. God bless y'all. May heaven smile upon y'all. Stay prayed up. Stay smooth. We out. Peace.